I kind of went back into my demos and what have you, and I was like, I might actually be able to do this one justice. So I sent it her. What I got back was just like, this is pretty special, this.
Now then, alright, I'm Jim, this is Freshly Squeezed, and you're about to hear a whole load of brilliant new music, all from in and around the city of Manchester. If you like this podcast and you want more, then hit that follow button now for a little reminder in your app of choice whenever a new episode is published. So, there is always a healthy amount of Mancunian talent featured on this podcast. Not only is it my hometown, but also, as it has always done, it produces more than its fair share of brilliant emerging talent. And 3 of those appear on this week's show. And none of those 3 fall into the mould of what you might typically expect of Manchester music, particularly if you're not from this city. Coming up today, you're going to hear some new wave ska from the Oldham-based Madam Claude.
Absolutely no chance, she said. Last time you were out for 3 days straight, and when you don't go to work, you don't get paid. One of life's great shades. Well, this time won't be the same.
Big indie rock riffs from the unsigned 5-piece Sixth Day.
Nobody knows the reason why you came here. You let me down, but never did you say that ever. You wanted more, you wanted to feel okay. I used to think that this love was forever.
And a double whammy of Mancunia as we hear new music from Ventrelles, who have just signed to the iconic Manchester record label 42's Records.
The rain and time again, right through the rise and the fall.
42's Records, by the way, is born out of a nightclub in Manchester called 42's, which, if you went to university in Manchester, you'll be all too familiar with, or would have been all too familiar with anyway. 3 great acts, 1 great city, and a city that has so much to offer, both musically and culturally, and that has always been the case.
In the beginning, or somewhere close, there was rain, red brick, and a rumbling beat. A city half shaped by chance, half by chaos, where legends gathered like storm clouds. From the shadows came Joy Division. From the rubble came a new order. Roses broke through concrete, Mondays turned mad, doves took flight, and brothers learned to fight in harmony. Call it fate, call it myth, call it music's own creation story, but the tale always ends the same. On the 6th day, God created
Manchester.
Manchester.
Manchester. Manchester. Manchester. Manchester. Manchester.
Manchester.
Manchester.
Manchester.
Manchester.
On the 6th day, God created Manchester, but it was Manchester who created the 6th day. And Alex from the band is on the pod. Welcome, mate.
Cheers, thank you.
I don't know whether this is the case, but I've just kind of assumed that that sentence is where the name came from, a reference to on the 6th day, God created Manchester, which, amongst other things, is a famous mural on the side of Affleck's Palace. Is that the case?
Yeah, well, I mean, when I was younger, I was always in Affleck Palace. I think most people, when they're growing up in Manchester, when they get old enough to go into town by themselves, they go there, and there's lots of other sort of musical murals, isn't there, on that building. It felt right, yeah. I think it sort of loosely matches the sound of the band as well.
If people don't know what Affleck's Palace is, aren't from Manchester, it's kind of a very cool shopping centre, I guess you call it, with loads of independent traders, and you could get an awesome toasted cheese sandwich there. That's kind of what I associate with that as a place. Was that a conscious thing, calling it 6th day, because you wanted to have a nod to Manchester in some way? Because maybe there isn't necessarily a nod to Manchester in your music, I don't think. So you wanted to get it in there a different way.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's probably a good way of putting it because, you know, we can't walk around in park. It's not that I want to anyway. But it is nice to sort of give a nod to the city. And also, I think sometimes our music does sound Mancunian or a little bit sort of 90s Mancunian anyway, because there's all different versions of Manchester music, really. But I think it's nice to have that subtle nod without it being in your face, I guess, which I think it sort of is.
Without being a covers band, ultimately.
Pretty much, yeah.
What are those Manchester musical references that you think you have in your tunes then?
I think there's a little bit of Oasis in there. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't and give you a more cool answer. There's a little bit of Joy Division, particularly in our track Down and Out, in the guitar lines. I actually went and saw Richard Ashcroft I went and saw him at the weekend. I think Richard Ashcroft has influenced me loads in terms of my voice and the lyrics and the melody. If it had to be three, it would probably be those.
It's interesting because with your last tune, Stella, I listened to it, and if I was going to say, look, this is the band they sound like, I'd kind of go probably they sound like a northern UK-based Green Day. It kind of had that feel to it.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny you say that because I've showed that song to a few of my friends, and it's sort of the same vein, but not. But people have said it sounds a bit Blink-182. It reminds them of that sort of scene, which it never sort of intended to be like that. But the more people have said it, the more I've listened to it, I do get it now, actually.
You're definitely mixing up with the new tune With You, though. When I listen to it, there's loads of stuff going on. It's got this kind of retro feel that maybe reminds me of the likes of Buzzcocks, but then it's got like this swing to it that is familiar to like Pumped Up Kicks, I thought, and there's a hint of Circa Waves going in there as well. Did you want to try something new with this song? Was this you as a band kind of mixing it up a bit?
I think it probably was, yeah. I think with previous singles like Down and Out and Run, they're a little bit darker and a bit rockier. I mean, it wasn't a conscious effort to, because these songs are all part of like a debut EP for us. It wasn't really a conscious decision to put a more softer, sort of poppier song on there, but it was just one that I think I brought to the rehearsal rooms, and it was one of those moments where everyone was just like, "That's going in the next EP. That's something that we take into the studio." With all that said, it is nice to have one of those songs in the set. It is a little bit different from everything else that we've got.
With that blending of genres, I wanted to let you yourself pop it onto the shelves of categories in the Freshly Squeezed archive. So if you'd like to step this way, I just want to welcome you into my Mind HMV. So Sherlock Holmes is a mind palace where he stores all his crime information. I have a Mind HMV where I store all the music in my head and all the music I've ever heard. I'd like you to put this tune on the shelf somewhere. Before we get into that, when was the last time you stepped foot in an actual record shop?
Good question. It'd have been one of the ones in Northern Quarter. Could have been Vinyl Revival. It'd have been about when I was in college, about 7 or 8 years ago, I think.
Right. I was going to ask you what you bought, or if you remembered what you bought, but I'm guessing not.
No, I don't think... I don't collect vinyl. It's one of the things I've been trying to get into, but it's just so expensive. I don't think I want to buy anything, to be honest.
If you're not a collector of vinyl, does that make you less inclined to, at some point in the future, put a 6 Day record out on vinyl, do you think?
I don't think so. I'd personally love to do that. It is something I want to get into. I've got friends that collect a lot of vinyl. It's something I would love to put out.
Well, for now we've got the virtual version. We need to put it into the Freshly Squeezed Mind HMV. First job is to get it into a section. Up to you where it goes. Don't be confined by normal genres. If you want it to go into polka, jazz, rock, it can sit there. But what genre are we going to put the new tune in?
I think it's as pop rock as the song gets, to be honest. It's a little bit alternative, but I think it reminds me of the 1975 a little bit. It also reminds me a little bit of the Cars, which I think all of what I've sort of just described there are the rest is just pop rock.
We'll bang it in the pop rock section. This bit might be a little bit trickier, although the names you've just mentioned might be good reference points because we don't organise these records alphabetically. We put one tune alongside another tune in which it shares a space. So this needs to sit between two other records. Influences, similarities. You can see over there, Oasis, All Around the World. It's virtually overlapping with the Beatles' Hey Jude. So what's going to sit either side of With You?
Probably the Cars, Just What I Needed.
Yeah.
And we were playing around the time we wrote this a lot of Pixies, and the producer that we went with to record this set of songs, without us speaking to him about it, it said it reminded him of the Pixies. So I think with that in mind, I'll just go with Hey Countryman.
That might be the kind of retro reference I was talking about, actually. We'll put it there on the shelves. Nice one, Alex. I'll leave you to look around the Mind HMV. We'll get With You on the sound system, but nice one. Cheers for coming on Freshly Squeezed.
Spin me like a record, babe. Turn me over, start again. 'Cause every time I need a friend, you always seem to be there then. I get up in the morning, sleep through to the afternoon. I go out in the evening, I go out just to hide. It's not living without you. But I can't hide the truth. Whoa.
Stay With You, new from them. And if you want more, then follow the link in the podcast description, but not until you've heard from Ventrelles, because I've got Phil and Connor to talk about their new EP. Welcome, boys.
Hi, Jim.
Hello.
New record out now, and as a band, first ever release on vinyl. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's great. You know, there's no other way around it. It's great to put something out and physically hold it in your hands and be able to flog it at £10 a piece. But no, it's great, and it does feel like a more kind of solidified achievement, I think, when you've worked hard in a song and have it, you know, like I say, hold it in your hands. So yeah, it's a great feeling.
I think it's a bucket list thing for anyone worth knowing, isn't it, really? I thought it was anyway. To have a record out, it's the kind of thing you kind of dream of when you're a kid, regardless if you end up being in a band or not. Everyone kind of dreams about having a record out, I think, do they?
Let's talk about the music that's actually on the record. The double A side, Emily's song on one side, and It's in the Papers on the other side, which has only just had its full release in terms of the digital release, that second one. It felt like me listening to this, that there was an effort as a band to show two very different sides of what you were doing. Was that the case, that you wanted to kind of juxtaposition two different songs?
Yeah. I think I was very conscious of the fact that it was our first release physically and on vinyl, that I wanted to stamp that kind of thing on it. Like, you know, this is the parameters, this is the top and tail of what's going to be, and everything else is going to be in between, probably. You've got kind of melodic, harder, rocky pop song, and then you've got this symphonic Burt Bacharach-esque kind of thing going on the other side, and we're, you know, it's kind of the two sides of us. We can do anything.
It felt like a bit of an Oasis approach almost, where I know it's a double A side, but it felt almost to me, and this might not be the case at all, you can confirm or deny, but it's like the A side was Emily's song, which was maybe your core sound, which Oasis did a lot in particularly the first two albums, and then they had a B side, which wasn't less in quality in any way, but it just kind of showed a different side to the band, and it's kind of a bit more chill. Just had a different vibe to it. Was that the approach, or was this genuinely like these are the bookends and we might land anywhere in between of this in terms of our music?
Well, I think you certainly, double A side or B side, you want to put two great tunes out. I'd say probably the Oasis approach might work there because it is two really good tunes back to back. They don't dip off in quality. There's not like a weaker song on the other side.
It was more like, I mean, skip past them lot and kind of go back to the Beatles and Hollies and you know, like... Yeah,
well, Oasis didn't write the book for that, did they? It wasn't their idea.
It's kind of going back to because they were CD era. They'd always release like a mini EP, like a lot of bands in the 90s, but going back to like the 60s and that, there was always a flip side, just one. It was one on the other.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say. You know, like you've got Paperback Writer and Rain, or Strawberry Fields Forever and Penny Lane. You know, two great tunes, but vastly different tunes. But they're still, the tie together by the fact that it's the same band and it's two really well-written songs.
But they complement each other.
Yeah, that's how any great band sticks its identity, really. Regardless of what sound they try, you can hear that band playing a good song. And it's a songwriting that really carries, which I think Phil and the band has in bags.
I mentioned Oasis a minute ago. Noel Gallagher once said that the best songs are those that fall out of the sky and arrive almost fully formed. I understand that was pretty much the case with Emily's song.
Yeah, we was rehearsing where I'm living now in Denton at a place called Silver Lining, and there was a guitar on, like, kind of for sale in the office, and I'd been eyeing it up for a bit. I didn't quite have enough for it, and then one day we went to rehearse there. It'd been dropped by about £100, so I was like, right, I'm having a... I took it home, and I think the next day it was quite sunny. I was sat in the garden, and I was just, you know, tinkling along like you did. The dog was trying to attack me, because at that point the dog was just trying to attack me every time I picked up my guitar, and Iggy sat down, and bang, it just, this riff come out. For the first time in about 2 years after we're rearing the dog, we got a lurcher. I felt relaxed. I don't think I'd written it. There was like 2 years when I was kind of blagging bits, and I'd not actually written anything because our life was so chaotic with this puppy. It's this thing that we thought was a whippet or whatever, and it turned out to be like a fully sized lurcher. A bit of a mad time in life, but yeah. So it just kind of come out of nowhere, and there's this kind of idea, this riff, and this melody, and then the words kind of. It's like I don't write a lot of those because I tend to write in bits, and I get an idea and I'll leave it for a few weeks and or a few months or a couple of years or 10 years or whatever, and then I'll go back to it again. Very rare am I gifted the pick up the pen and just bang, 3 minutes done. I remember being really excited about it, going like a cat. I was just shaking in the car, going down to the rehearsal room. I knew it'd be one of them where it would just literally fall together. It'd be there.
And it came together pretty quickly. I think everyone had pretty much had all their parts of it down on like the fourth go, because it all just clicked into place.
Yeah. Do you know what it was like, Tim? It was like an old song that we'd not played for years.
Yeah,
That's what it felt like. And it was like, have we sure we never played it? It could have been because of different. It's just written it.
Right, boys. Well, there's 2 tunes on this record. I've got the difficult job of picking one of them. Emily's song's been in the world for a little bit. In the Papers is brand new. So I know we've not talked about it yet, but we're going to give it a little spin on Freshly Squeezed. Then we're going to come back and I want you to just fill in the blanks. Tell me a bit about it. That's all right.
Yeah, go for it.
Right. Well, this is brand new from Ventrelles, In the Papers. This is Freshly Squeezed.
Flowers falling, catch my train. Should have seen the state of everyone in town. It's in the papers and you don't understand. Now it's gone down the underpass. It's nice you ask in the never ending like a prophecy. Certainly meant to be.
Right, there we go, boys. Brand new tune. It's the second A-side of your current record, your first vinyl release, first with 42's Records as well. Before we wrap up, just tell me a little bit about In the Papers. Where did it come from? What's special in that song to you?
Right, this song harks back to the first year of lockdown. It was something I wrote then when we were kind of confined to our bedroom studios and doing silly little gigs in front of our phones for people. And I was furloughed at the time. I had a lot of spare time with my hands, and I was listening to a lot of, back into like, the magical world of Michael Head and the Strands, which is probably quite apparent. And I've forgotten about the song. Not forgotten about it, it was kind of back. I kind of just put it on the back burner or whatever, not forgotten about it. But I never really thought it'd be a Ventrelles release, if I'm honest with you. I couldn't see it fitting until we were working with Dean Glover at Vibe Studios, and I had this other song that we were we're building an album together. We're still kind of we're not there yet. And I drafted in this girl called Isabella Baker to play strings just background strings on this other tune for the album. When I heard her work and how fast she was at working and stuff, I was like, this could really open up some doors here. And I kind of went back into my voice notes and I mean demos and what have you, and I was like, oh, hang on a minute. Right. I might actually be able to do this one justice. So I sent it her. What I got back was just like, this is pretty special, this. Maybe an album tune, maybe an album closer. We got closer to the time when we booked into the studio to work with Gavin Monaghan down at Magic Garden. And Phil was like kind of saying, what you can use as B-side. And at first, I think I told you kind of, lads, I think I said we'd probably re-record something we'd done before, like County Lines or something like that. And then I kind of just nudged the idea to Phil, and he's like, yeah, great, why not? And I was like, was it a bit too ambitious? And he's like, no, not at all. So put it to the lads, and we did this version of it, didn't we, in the rehearsal room without the strings, and it sounded good on its own. So we're like, you know what, this is pretty tight, and it's a waltz as well, and like, it's totally different to Emily's song, I think it shows that flip side to us.
Boys, really enjoying both the new tunes. Lovely the speech on Freshly Squeezed. There was a little hint of an album coming soon as well, which has got me super excited. So we will speak again very soon, I'm sure.
And more singles as well.
Yes, let's definitely catch up soon. But right now, let's crack straight on with the third and final Manchester act on this episode of Freshly Squeezed, and a slight change of pace with Madame Claude. 3 characters on the podcast for this interview: Mikey, Frank, and the unwanted appearance from some dodgy Wi-Fi. But let's give it a go. How do, boys? I'm sure you've done this at some point, but when you Google Madame Claude, you get, how in Google now you get like a little AI summary at the top.
Believe it or not, I haven't done it. Have you done it? No. I would imagine, because Madame Claude was, first and foremost, it was a famous brothel owner. which we did not know when we put the name on, in Paris. So I'd imagine that would come up pretty high.
Well, that's it. It actually says at the beginning, I know you guys took your name from a bar in Germany, in Berlin, but actually kind of AI definition is Madame Claude could refer to the Oldham Band or the famous French brothel keeper.
Oh, we're up there with the famous brothel keeper. Yeah, just to confirm we are the Oldham Band.
Okay. Well, before we get into the interview, I just want to check some facts to make sure I've got the right question set for you. So first fact, known for running high-end prostitution rings in the 1960s in Paris. Is that you or is that the other Madame Claude?
That is us. We can confirm. We're not proud of it. No, yeah, that's the other one.
Second one is rumoured to have once entertained John F. Kennedy.
That's not me, Frank. Was it you? That one, we didn't get the booking for that one. I'm sure they wanted to book us. Yeah, if he was still knocking about, I'm sure he'd be a fan.
Final one, has a new single out called Simon is a Lunatic.
No, that one is definitely ringing a bell, that's all. You research your boys.
Right, 1 out of 3 isn't bad. So the new tune, Simon is a Lunatic. My first question is, Simon, is he real? And how has he reacted to being called out on one of your songs?
He's not real. He's sort of an accumulation of characters. There's 5 of us in a band, and I think at the moment 4 of us have got girlfriends.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure between the 4 girls,
They'll have a Simon.
got at least one or several Simons who are mates who they'd probably get on with them themselves, but they'd rather us not knock about with them.
Because they're a lunatic.
They're lunatics and they can be bad influences.
I feel like everybody knows a Simon.
I think you're right there. Mikey, in general, you're kind of chief songwriter. Frank, you're frontman, but Mikey, the songs start with you. At what stage does something become collaborative from your head, Mikey, to like the rest of the band?
It depends. Sometimes I'll write something start to finish and then take it to the band and then we work on it together. Sometimes Frank writes them with me. Sometimes someone else will have a riff or something in practice and then we'll build on that. It varies.
How does that work for you, Frank, as a man who has to kind of bring these tunes to life on stage? Do you find it easier to kind of work on a song that you've collaborated in from the early stages, or is Mikey so kind of in your head and so connected with you that he just writes in your voice and with your delivery?
He's good at getting me to do it right. Do you know what I mean? When we're recording it or when he's showing me the song, we'll sort of tell me the premise. Or sometimes when we're writing it, we'll have a premise and we'll just bounce ideas back at each other, and generally whatever makes each other laugh tends to go in. But then, yeah, I like it when he comes with a full tune and he's, showing me how to do each bit, the phrasing and stuff like that. We like a little musical direction from Michael.
It can be quite hard to try and describe things sometimes, but then we've got to a point now where he'll just get what I'm saying without me. I better fully think through what it is I'm trying to say, connect up the dots sort of thing, which makes it a lot easier, doesn't it?
Yeah.
As a band, I think you've got a pretty unique sound in the space at the moment. You'd probably headline it as ska, but there's a bit more going on in there as well. Kind of like it's a modern take on ska, I guess. There's some indie creeping in at times, some other influences. To what degree is having that unique sound a blessing because it makes you stand out? And to what degree is it a curse that it's currently a bit of an unloved style of music, I guess?
Yeah, it's sort of underrated, isn't it, a bit by the most people. But then you've got those people that are absolute diehard ska fans. And it can be a bit of I know what you mean, a blessing and a curse, because you get put on those bills and half the audience will be like, yes, this is great, new ska. And then the other ones will be like, where's your pork pie at?
Yeah.
This isn't the specials. We're not from Jamaica, are we? So we're not going to make ska like the people that they want to listen to it from. So it just sort of comes out of us with all these other things alongside it. Do you know what I mean? We never really set out to make ska music. We just were playing stuff, and we all liked a lot of rock steady, ska, reggae, all of that Jamaican music. And it came out in the music that we were playing. It just all sort of fell into place of being like ska was what people called it, but we were just putting an offbeat on stuff.
Yeah.
It made us all dance and we're like, yeah, let's have a bit of that.
How does it work the other way when you're playing kind of festivals with maybe a broader bill where you're playing with kind of maybe the more in vogue kind of indie rock acts, and then you rock up on stage and you're playing this type of music that maybe portions of the audience haven't really experienced before? They might have heard a bit of madness somewhere on the radio, but other than that, they've not really heard it anywhere. Does that become difficult to convert the crowd, or do you take a joy in kind of introducing people to something new?
I buzz off it.
Yeah.
The first time people watch us, they don't really tend to dance. you can see the minds, like their heads are going, what the fuck is this? Like, but in a good way, do you know what I mean? It's nice. I like it. I get a bit of a buzz off it coming out and saying some of our lyrics to just loads of people who 100% won't be expecting that to come out of your mouth. It's good. I like it a lot.
It's good music to play live, and it's probably it's easier. That's probably one of the bonuses of doing that sort of music with the offbeat, and it's easy music to move to. It's even for like a neutral observer sort. It's the sort of thing what people get on board with quite quickly, even if they've no experience of it.
Yeah, we get a lot of people saying like in their head, I don't like ska. Do you know what I mean? And then they'll come to us after and be like, "Wow, I don't normally like that sort of stuff, but I liked it." And it's like, yeah, but it's not just that, is it? It's not the stuff you don't like. It's
jumpy, happy.
Yeah, exactly. It's got a positive vibe about it before we even start speaking. Do you know what I mean?
It's just happy, upbeat music. So you're off to a good start anyway.
Good vibes and good luck with it as well. Cheers, boys. Thanks for coming on Freshly Squeezed.
Yeah, smashing. Thanks very much, Jim.
I 100% told you 2 weeks ago. We were stood in the kitchen. We're always in the flipping kitchen. Yeah, but we're not. And I'm going, so that's the end of that. Full stop. And no, I will not rue the day. She'll be okay in a few days. Who's going then, she says. And I list off the names. Slightly trying to smuggle Simon in right at the end. Because Simon is a lunatic. Absolutely no chance, she says. Last time you were out for 3 days straight, and when you don't go to work, you don't get paid. One of life's great shame. Well, this time won't be the same. Use your fucking brain. Use your fucking brain. Let me explain. His head works in a different way to somebody that is sane. He always means the things he says. Normally a desirable trait, especially in a mate. But Simon is a lunatic and tends to cause outrage. Simon is a lunatic.
Cool, that, isn't it? I love it when a band sounds like they are having a blast and they are a band that just sound like they're absolutely loving it. Internet connection kind of held out for that chat and everything, which is good. The other Manchester band you need to check out, other than the three I've just mentioned, of course, is Spin Class. You hear their tune every week on Freshly Squeezed. It's the theme music. It's called Blue Blazer, but they've got so much more going on than that tune. There is a link to them in the podcast description, along with all the other acts featured on this episode. And if you want a recommendation, a starting point for Spin Class, let me point you in the direction of their track Slow Loris. It's an older one, but it's a good one. You can also hear that band chatting on episode 6 of Freshly Squeezed, and that right there is a great example of why it's well worth checking out the back catalogue of episodes of this podcast, just in case you missed a band in amongst them that you are going to love. Go check that out, and while you're there, hit the follow button if you've not done so already, drop that review if you've not done so already, and if you've done both of those things, well, I guess I'll see you next week. Cheers for your ears.
The award-winning Freshly Squeezed, a new music podcast, was devised, produced and hosted by Jim Salveson. Sound design and additional production by Ant McGinley. The music, Blue Blazer, is written and produced by Spin Class. The poem was read by Clint Moon. Stop.